I believe we should be live. There we go. Hello and welcome to the Self-Help Bookshelf. It's the group and we're all here. We've had a very busy day. Yay. We've had a lot of technology issues along the way today as well, so please bear with us. You might find Rory's going to go and do an episode of Let It Go and just freeze and disappear, but we'll see if he can stay with us. Got the coat ready. So yeah, we've had some amazing, interesting day. But there's been a lot going on, lots and lots of work from Emma and Rory and myself, all going on in the background all day. So if anybody wants to know about the books on the YouTube, or actually has been shared in the group as well, if not, we will share them, is the videos from this morning about the books. We did another little catch-up lunchtime and had a chat about each other's books as well. So tonight is more about us connecting with you in the group, coming and having a bit of a celebration with you to thank you for being there for us while we've been writing all these books. So let's kick off with some very basic questions tonight. Emma, how has your day been?
Yeah, it's been good. I've been just keeping an eye well, trying to keep an eye on the orders, but Amazon seems to not be updating the orders at the moment. I know people are buying, but I don't know how many because it's not showing me. So just been keeping an eye. But yeah, it's been exciting to know that it's out and that people can get it. Definitely, yeah.
And that data will catch up with you when it's ready, and it might just be it'll take 24 hours or
Mhm.
48 hours to kick in, but when it does, it will show you what's happened from beginning. So that's great. So thank you to anybody who supported Emma today as well. And Rory, how has your day been?
Yeah, it's been
Great, thank you. Yeah, just been really um, flowing with the connections and celebrations and
Yeah.
connecting with everyone that's been congratulating me, which is, I think it's so important to recognize when someone is celebrating. It's really important. It's a ripple effect. So what we're doing is aiming to, you know, provide support for others, and within that whole thing of that, we get to celebrate the support that comes back and acknowledgement, because if we don't, then we're not, when it's a one-way thing of, and so I'm very, very grateful and filling up with happiness for people that are celebrating, and any one interaction like that is it's a two-way,
Yeah.
you know, having a relationship. You can't just be giving one way or giving the other. It's kind of really, really acknowledging that both ways. Just because I put a lot of work into it, but at the same time, it kind of, it's got to go back the other way. And if you do get an acknowledgement, then that really does show that something could happen in the future, that more lives get changed as we go along. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we want to do here tonight, is why we've offered the live in the group, is to make that connection both ways with people who are members here. So hopefully people will come in and be watching this in a bit. I'm still learning to read all these statistics. I can't say it. It says one person's watching live. So whoever they are, hi. Just drop, please feel free to say hello to us in the comments as well. That would be amazing. And then we can respond to you, because this is the whole point of tonight, is to be two-way, whereas all the previous videos have been us talking at the camera very much, or to each other on the camera. So it's nice to have that intention to interact this evening. So yeah, it's been an incredibly busy day for the both of you. For anybody who would have no idea, we have all been talking to each other on and off on Zoom since 8:30 this morning, sorting out technology issues, working out where we're posting, what we're doing, who we're connecting with, what information's going out, planning our talks. So Emma and Rory have discovered a lot this week about how much work goes in beyond writing the book. And it doesn't end the minute you finish typing or proofreading or editing or formatting or publishing. The work goes on and on and on. And it really is a major appreciation for what anybody puts in to creating a book. It is a tremendous amount of effort, and they do it because they care about something that somebody out there needs help with. So massive, massive well done to the both of you so far. And they're already planning. It's just like having a baby, you know. You've done it, and it's a painful process, but you still want to do it again. and I'm testament to that. So yeah, it doesn't put us off. It's exciting, it's hard work, but it's very rewarding. So yes, so it's been an amazing day all around, and thank you to anyone who's followed, commented, liked, or shared anything of mine as well today. And I have reached back out to a few people as well. Yeah, so we've had so much support from people in this group that we want to have a little bit of fun with this tonight. So if you're watching along, please do comment and join in with us. And if not, just put hashtag replay afterwards so we know you've seen, and we can come and support you too. So we're going to ask some questions tonight. So the next one is, because we're just going to make this a bit of fun. I've got a bottle here. And I'm going to run through questions, and I've got 3 pens in here. And it's just a big empty box, but it's a gift box, look. Very much like the one in my vision, but that was smaller. And I've got 3 pens in here. We are allocating green to Rory, yellow to Emma to match critical parenting, and mine is orange because of my brand colour. So I'm going to just shuffle them around in there. I couldn't find anything else to do it with. And we're going to pick one of the pens out where I can't see. Green. So Rory, we'll start with you on this one. Tell us about a book that has inspired you, a self-help book that has inspired you as to why you're creating your self-help book.
I would say one of the most fundamental books that I've read on self-help, if you call it that, is The Way of Qigong, the art and science of Chinese energy healing. And it was after I came out of osteopathy, and I had all the sort of neuroscience of the body and metabolism, and it really, I can't really explain how detailed it goes in. I mean, with osteopathy, how detailed it goes into the ins and outs and knowings of the structure and the function and the pathologies, and non-stop 4 years of study around the body and health and stuff. And when I got this book afterwards, because I was like, I'm still fascinated about helping others, that so they don't have to or stay out of the treatment room. Because from me recovering from the mental health crisis in my early 20s, I didn't realize how passionate I was still about, underneath all of that, how to voice this energy or drive to help people stay healthy without the need for therapy, as it were. But yeah, seeing where my journey was with therapy, with the reflexology, and then massage, and then learning all of those things. So long story, trying to be as short as possible. It covers the science of breathing, metabolism, and how to breathe functionally, and it all ties in with all the other sciences around breathing. And it's a absolutely brilliant book, The Way of Qigong by Kenneth Cohen, and it's a foundational book in understanding the actual Western science, as well as the esoterical knowledge of energy production and book. Yeah, I know we're gonna. I'll stop carrying on now because I'll just go on for a
No,
more.
you're right. It sounds fascinating. Sorry, I spoke over then, and the volumes don't come through together. No, that sounds incredible, Rory. Fascinating. So maybe we can pop a link to these books later anyway. So right, let's see who's going next. Emma. A book that has inspired you and helped you inspire you while you're writing your book.
Oh, I would probably say the book that I found the most helpful for me personally it's a book called Counselling for Toads. It's written by a chap called Robert DeBoard, and he is a transactional analysis therapist. So my book, Critical Parenting Reframed, is written very much from that same model of therapy. And Counselling for Toads is a retake on Wind in the Willows, but from a therapeutic point of view. So within the book, Toad goes off the rails quite a lot in Wind in the Willows. He's very easily bored. He kind of goes from one thing to another. He wants a car, then he's bored of that and he wants something else and he writes it off, and he's got a lot going on. And when you actually start to explore what's happening for Toad, which is what he's doing, you start to see a lot of this critical parenting narrative coming in from his parents, and he was kind of forced into a box that he never wanted. And then it goes through, essentially what happens in this book is that Toad goes for counselling. So he ends up going to see a therapist, and through the weeks they actually work on the child part of Toad and how we're going to heal the child part of Toad to actually make him better. And they talk through a lot of different therapy models, but it's very much done through a story. So it is like a storybook, and it's just lovely. Like, I read it over Christmas when I was on my course, and I think I read it twice. The first time it was really emotional to read because there was a lot of stuff I could relate to, and then the second time it sort of started to click into place. I recommend it to clients a lot, and a lot of my clients have read it once or twice, sometimes 3 times, and then as they read it, something new comes out of it each time, and they kind of think, oh, I understand now. So yeah, that's a really, really influential book, Counselling for Toads. We'll pop the link into that as well.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. That does sound very, very close in terms of what that will achieve with your book as well. Like you say, I can certainly understand where the influence of your book has come from for that. So thank you, Emma. And obviously, final one will be my pen, orange. So for me, I'm torn between two here, actually, despite me writing the questions down earlier. The one I'm going to go for is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. And it's a book that I started reading many years ago when I was trying to support my son through suicidal depression. And there was a specific topic that came up in there about understand before being understood. And that was a huge part of what triggered the journey for me, not so much with my mindfulness books that I'm launching today, but with my first book, Brain Unchained. And it helped me to realize that I needed to understand what was going on in his head before he could access the world of self-help books. And he understood the concept that self-help books should help, and he wanted to read them. But things that he was reading didn't quite fit with where he was at emotionally at the time, and would actually trigger him rather than help him. As much as the information was really valuable, it was going the wrong way. And it was when I then realized that he couldn't understand his emotions because he couldn't see them, and I found a way to help him do that, then that was me understanding him. Then he started in return to understand and read self-help books. And that's the power of why we're all here today, is helping people with self-help books. But he needed that emotional awareness first. And now I can guarantee whenever I go and visit my son, there's always a new self-help book somewhere around the house, and he loves reading them now. So that was a really, really key one to influence me early on, as well as lots and lots of others. So, but it was an early one for me. So yeah, so that's question 1, round 1. A topic before we go on to the next question is one that came up this morning or lunchtime when we were having a chat, was human evolution. Well, I'll put these back in and we'll pick up who goes when. There was a conversation come up about human evolution, and I think we've all got things we could talk about to do with this topic, that are all very, I can't think the word now, and I just think it begins with S, and that's the only letter I can think of. Maybe someone will fill me in. But we're all fairly synchronized in that I can't, yeah, the word's gone. All right, let's pick a pen. Squiggle them up. Oh, we're going for Rory. Human evolution, Rory. What's your take on it?
Wow.
After all that, I'm just throwing it in condensed, laser focused.
Answer, yeah. 3 words. In 3 words.
Well,
Um,
well, no, I don't mean you've got to laser focus it. My question was, that was all.
yeah, no, I'm just saying how to boil that down in quickly at all. I think the key to human evolution, which obviously can be observed in short instances, like, a baby to an adult.
Mm.
Clearly something going on there, and a baby is not the same as an adult, so there is an evolution that is beyond our just, oh yeah, you put a toast in the toaster and you get toast, as an understanding of what's actually happening in life. So, but the idea of if in one lifespan things change, and there's a code going on, and that there's all this stuff going on. The understanding that if we focus on whatever thoughts, feelings, and emotions we're focusing on, will either keep us in a nonsensical fantasy world that is bad, or we can create a nonsensical fantasy world that is good, that actually then develops into reality, things that we want. So, as far as I can put it, that's what I believe is happening if we really embrace neurodiversity as the scope of how humans interact uniquely, but also commonly as well, and look from not an either or perspective. So looking at what makes things unique, and also look at what the common factors are, and how we can guide that towards something that actually means that we cooperate and collaborate together on a less forced way.
Well done. That's a tough question. Right, we'll see who's next, me or Emma. Here we go. I have no idea which one's coming out. Oh, we go in the same order, Emma.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so for me, I guess, in terms of self-help, I would say that um the evolution process is the process of actually raising awareness of a certain way of thinking and behaving that we're doing. That's kept us stuck for sometimes decades. I have clients coming who have been stuck for decades, literally in a pattern, a process, a way that they think and behave, and then they've not been able to actually evolve in terms of how are they going to live their life. So they haven't lived their life. They've just been stuck. So for me, evolving is, let's look at the pattern and the process and the behavior, the feeling, whatever it is that we've got, and actually by raising the awareness and then being able to set it down, that's where the evolving takes place, because then you're breaking a cycle, but not just for you, it's for future generations of your family as well. So you're then actually helping an evolutionary process going forward, because if you break the cycle that's gone before, the people coming after you aren't going to be in the same place.
Yeah,
So that's my take on it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that's really powerful. And I do see that happening even within my own family. I see that, but then I also see some things that still follow through. But yeah, we need to start somewhere, breaking the cycle. So yes, obviously last pen out. I might leave mine out next time. For me, when I look at human evolution from the point of an emotional awareness expert, for me, it's thinking back way further. When we think back in the entire history of the human race and how much the human race has evolved with food and cooking and fire, technology, building engineering, and then they've gone into politics, religion, sciences, medicinal, pharmaceutical. And then we're looking at also how genetics have changed over thousands of millions of years in the human race. And yet, the one thing that hasn't changed through all of that, because they say the one thing that's guaranteed in life is change. Change is a constant. But the one thing that has never changed is the human emotional cycle. And we have exactly the same core emotions now as generations 100, 1,000, and a million years ago. That hasn't changed. And the purpose of those emotions hasn't changed. But what has changed is how those emotions work for us in modern society versus being a caveman. And when we start to understand the purpose and the feelings and the processes of those emotions, then we can start to work out how that works for us in today's world and make changes that make society a lot easier for us to live in. So that's my take on the human evolution process. Thank you. Thank you, Rory. So, yes, right. Pen's back, going back in the box. Had some other bits written down. Right, an interesting one for you. What advice would you give to someone who is hesitant in using self-help books or the principles from self-help books? Have you got the question, or do you need me to repeat it? I'm going to squiggle them around again, and I'm not looking, so you can see they're all in there. Oh, me first this time, right? Right, me first. So what advice would I give to somebody who's hesitant in using self-help books or their principles? I would say, first of all, is to be aware of why you're hesitant. What is it that is making you doubt whether or not they're effective? And again, for me, a lot of that comes back very much to, as I said, with my son, when I found out the understand before being understood and helping him to understand his emotional cycle first, he was then able to access the principles of self-help books because he understood how that affected his emotions. And his emotions could also affect the changes he needed to make going forward. So for me, really, that's down to that awareness. Be aware of yourself, your emotions, and if you're uncertain about a self-help book, a lot of them may be that they are in the wrong genre for you, and you may need to look at something a bit more suitable for where your position is right now. And when you've read one self-help book, it does not change your entire life forever. It's a series of steps. So for me, I've worked on my personal development for over 30 years, and I am still learning, and I'm still reading self-help books, and I still always find something new. So don't expect to pick up one and that to be the be all and end all. Look at one that is right for you for where you are right now. So that's my answer. Right, let's see who's going next. It's between Rory and Emma. Emma, hey.
Yeah, I think I would echo what you started with, which is I would be asking people why they're hesitant. What's going on? You know, what's happening? Is it a fear? Is it a fear of, you know, what might happen if they open the book? Is there, I mean, I guess sometimes knowing you need help or feeling that you need help and actually seeking out the help are two very different things. So sometimes even the act of opening up a book can feel quite scary because you don't know how that's going to change your thought process. And sometimes letting go of a very ingrained thought process is quite frightening. So I would again be mindful of, I guess, the kind of book that you're picking up for this particular stage where you are now. Don't be going for a book that's going to trigger you in any way. You need to be starting with something, I guess, small steps and working up. They can obviously be used in conjunction with therapy as well, so you can have support. I think my tutor said something really interesting on our training course, which was that it can, you know, he said it would probably take 3 or 4 lifetimes to actually get to a point of complete sort of self-actualization where you fully understand who you are and why you're here. So we don't expect to be doing that in one lifetime, much less one book. So it's a journey. This whole thing is a journey and a growth. It's about starting where you are and actually becoming. You know, it's a journey of becoming, but we don't expect to reach the end necessarily in this lifetime. We just expect to reach a better place. That's what we're asking. So I guess it's not putting too much pressure on yourself when you're opening the book. And then if you feel like, oh my God, nothing's changed, again, you're feeding into a narrative that you failed. We don't want that. So it's being gentle with yourself when you're opening the book. Yeah.
There you go. Well done. That leaves Rory. Well done, Emma.
Okay, can I just confirm that it's kind of what would make someone hesitant to read or open up and read a self-help book?
Yeah, and what advice you would give them?
Okay. Um, the one thing that comes up for me straight away around hesitancy in general is either processing speed in someone's mind, which I struggled with a lot. But it typically comes down to as soon as there is processing and a decision to be made, then it will be to do with personalizing that decision making and being internalizing it. So when we personalize and internalize it, will give us opportunity to go into what can be called psychological freezing or psychological analysis, an analysis paralysis. And so then it just goes round again. So so it's head based, and if there's a hesitancy because there's a want, or the hesitancy because it's unknown, that's another. Then it's a factor of like, is it unknown? Could you explore it? Why is it important? And just going, why is this important to me? What's truly important here, and not necessarily about um assumptions on anything. So if it's actually important to explore from a curious, unknown point of view, then we've got nothing to lose. We get nothing to lose by having a look at things and exploring from that perspective. But if we constantly leap towards making it mean something about us, that's the important bit. And that's what often is the thing that we need help with. Is so I've certainly done it many times. So just to be able to look at it and notice whether I'm making it mean something about me all the time, or whether there's a disassociation. And what's really, really important here, and if it's important to actually learn something, also get a second opinion. You can look at the ideas and also then see what other people think when they're experts, not necessarily just people that will give you random opinions. And that's another point to my self-care teachings, is to get what feedback are you getting? Are you talking to people that are just feeding back stuff that they have no experience in, but they have an opinion about? Because that's not useful whatsoever. So expert opinion that have done something that you want to achieve, and also feedback from anyone that is really wants to support you no matter what, and go, you know what, you just do what you need to do, don't listen to anyone else. That's the kind of feedback you want.
Yeah, well done, Rory. Oh, you only got one that time, not a screen full. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. So yeah, I think that's amazing answers. And the only other thing I might just add to that as well is, for some people, it might also be about fear of judgment, about other people judging for what they're reading. But there are ways to read, such as buying on a Kindle on your phone, where other people don't necessarily need to know what you're reading. But also, if people judge you, there might be a reason where, you need to perhaps overcome that fear of the judgment itself as well. And then when you do take the right path, the right people will support you and follow you. And the other one would be denial. But if there's denial, that's not the same as hesitancy. But yeah, so that's some great answers there. Wow, well done. Right, the pen's back in the box. Okay, now we're going to come around to some questions for your books. All right. Next question. If readers could implement only one strategy from your book, what would it be and why? All right, mix them all up here. Oh, me again. All right. Now, if readers could implement only one strategy from my book, what would it be and why? For me, the first one would be really, I know today's meant to be about mindfulness books or notebooks, but there's nothing in a notebook, it's empty. So let me go with that. Let me run with the notebook for today. If people could implement one strategy with a notebook, what would it be and why? It would be to just have the courage to put pen to paper, and whatever is in your head, get it out. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is mind mapping. So whether you literally bullet point lists out or you literally mind map like a spreadsheet that just blast everything out, it is all really, really good at getting what's all jumbled up in here onto paper, so it's outside of your head and you can look at it objectively. And the reason that is really powerful is to think of it this way. We are all really good at giving somebody else advice because they're not in our head. We can look at that externally and give them that advice, but we're not so good at giving ourselves advice. And when you put something on paper, it gets it out of your head and you can look at it as if you were looking at it to advise somebody else. And that is a really powerful way to use an empty notebook even. So that's my answer. So who next? Yay. Thank you. Right. I got one at the front, one on the back. What are we going, front or back? I'm going with that one. Rory. Oh, I keep chucking it up the microphone.
One strategy to learn from the book is linked to, it's really, I'd say it's not really a tips and tricks kind of book, but it is there to take whatever meaning you want, as long as it helps in some way, shape, or form. So the strategy behind it, I would say, would be great is to use it as a little tool to click on something randomly, or flip, if it's a Kindle, pick something random every day, and just remind yourself of something that you like about it, or that would help you to step into a more powerful version of you, and or flip through it and look at it mindfully, and basically the power of curiosity is what I think I would say around it, is to inspire using it to keep the curiosity up in life.
Lovely. Do you want to do an example if I open your, because I've got your proof copy here, haven't I?
Okay.
We haven't even put this on screen yet today. Do you think it's time?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Are we going to drum roll? Rory's book is on my desk. Because Rory's traveling, he's had it posted here so that we can at least hold it on the camera, and we forgot to do it lunchtime after all the technology issues. So here we are. There's Rory's book, Neuro Creative Recollections. Obviously, the final copy won't have the proof banding on it. So let's open it randomly at a page. Say when.
Now.
Oh, you picked a big one.
Go on then.
Oh, let me read what we got. Stress kills, true or false? A paradoxic trick question of either or that sums up sensationalist thinking processes, diverting our attention away from creative thinking and falling prey to our fears, protective urges, and judgment. You can spend as much time, effort, and energy as you choose deliberating about this type of paradox. Shall we start with that? Do you want to reflect on that and give the example? We did most of the book is very short with like a photograph, but we picked a double page one.
Yeah. So the main point of that is the headlines go, stress kills, or this is bad, this is good, or something like that, and it causes a consistent either or. It's either bad or it's good, a mentality that continually leads towards thinking that things, if we think things are bad, they will have a negative effect on our body. So stress actually is the thing that will get us up in the morning. Our blood pressure has to go up. It has to stress to the point where we aren't just a blob of like of confused, dreamy mess with like all the fluids drained out into our tissues, so we're just like, can't think. Whereas all that blood pressure that changes when we get moving, that's a stress, that's a pressure on the system. So there has to be enough pressure for us to stand up in the morning. So stress is good for us just as much as it is bad for us.
Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's celebrate stress. Yay, look at that. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I've forgotten the question now. But no, anyway, that's amazing. So yes, this is Rory's book, and as a quick glance through, you can see lots of creative pages, photographs as well that go with little prose. And literally, like we said, we've thrown page numbers out the window, or Rory has, so you've got no page numbers. You literally just flipping good book, as he says, and it is. I've thoroughly enjoyed working on that with you. So anyway, well done. So that leaves Emma's pen in the box. I picked pens because we're all authors. I just thought it seemed appropriate. I should have said that. So Emma's pen, yay.
Can you
One strategy.
I'm trying to think of one strategy. I mean, there's a lot of information in my book. There's a lot of stuff. I think just to touch on what you said about journaling, if I can, as well, is that I think as part of our therapy training, we are told to journal. It is a part of any good counselling training involves journaling, because they want you to grow. They want you to reflect on your own self-development. And so for me, journaling is really powerful because it is a record of where you started and where you're going to end up. And actually you can then chart a journey of growth through a journal. And actually, if I look back at my journals from when I started my training to who I am now, I'm a very different person in the space of 2 years. My whole life is mapped out in that journal. So really powerful. Buy Kay's notebooks, get writing. It's really, really, really powerful. In terms of my book, particularly, I suppose the main strategy is it's about setting down limiting beliefs, and the 4 life positions that we have in therapy. There are 4 life positions that we have, which are set out in the book. And the position that we're aiming for is the position where you know that you're okay. A lot of people don't know they're okay. They think they're very much not okay. There must be something wrong with me. I hear that quite a lot. It's my fault. I had a client the other day say something like, I must have been really bad in a past life. A lot of self-blame. Fundamentally, we're not right. Something's gone wrong. Everyone's okay. That's the starting point of the model of therapy that I practice, is that because we're all born the same. So we must all be okay. So what happens to us in life is that we get put into an environment or a situation where we hear a lot of messages, and those messages make us feel that we're not okay, because they're coming from, you might have a parent who says that you're stupid or dumb, or you might have a teacher that makes one of those flippant comments at school that, you're not going to amount to much, and to them that was a passing comment, but to you that now means you're very much not okay. What are we going to do with that? So the one strategy that I want people to take is, you are okay. If you read the book, you'll find out why you're okay.
Yeah, follow that one. Well done. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think I've heard most of them in my life, most of them. So I do get it. And yeah, we're all okay here. We're all doing great, and we're all proof. We are all living proof that personal development can really take you to a better place, and we're all okay. So there, that's great. So next question, put the pens back again. It's a huge box for a few little pens, but it gives me room to jiggle them around. Right, stir them up a bit more this time. So next question is, what was the most challenging part of writing your book and the most fun part? Emma.
I really enjoyed writing my book. I think the subject matter of it is something that I'm really passionate about anyway. And it's a model of therapy that I use a lot in my therapy room. And it is something that I am so passionate about because I had a lot of those narratives in my life, and I wanted people to be able to set them down, because until I set them down, I was never free. And I know that for sure. I was never free until I set them down. And now I do have a level of freedom. I'm still growing, I'm still learning, like we all are, but I have a huge now level of emotional freedom that I simply didn't have. So yeah, I guess that would be the fun part was actually writing it and knowing that I'm going to be able to help people. The hard part was the reflection for me personally, in terms of going back to some of those narratives, because I've put in some examples from my own life, not to blame or shame anyone, like we've said. That's not what this is about. We've moved on from there. This is about giving examples to actually say, these are some of the things that could happen, and these are the ways that you might be able to, to deal with it. But it's a challenge. It is a challenge when you've got to confront that kind of thing. It was a heavy writing process in part because of that, and actually having to revisit some of that stuff. But the lesson is that, once we've revisited it and we've understood where it comes from, look where you can get to at the end. So
well done. Yeah, that was a very tough series of topics in your book as well. Even reading it, and I can certainly understand why that was difficult for you, but at the same time, so incredibly helpful to others. Well done, Emma. Well done. Yeah. And oh, let's see who's next. Oh, me. Right, the fun part of writing my book, mine was notebooks. I'm going by that today. I've loved writing and creating every one of my books. But the fun part of the notebooks was knowing I'm going to have this matching series. Having something that just gave a completely different option and feel rather than a standard self-help book. So although I've got my Mindfulness with Flowers and Darker Than Dark, which were my two mindfulness books, it's having these matching notebooks gave me this sense of luxury. So it was taking the ability to have something that people can use creatively in whatever way they want, but bringing that mindfulness in from the moment you pick the book up, maybe having something you can give as a luxury gift. But it was even just little things, and considering like the paper inside, it doesn't show so well on this camera tonight, but it's cream coloured paper as opposed to the usual white. I don't know if I can compare them. It's just a slightly creamier paper. It's much nicer on the eyes. So for me, it was just that ability to go, do you know what? I've created the books, but how can I repurpose these to create these notebooks and just have fun with the designs and the covers? And then they've all got different coloured backs as well. And when they sit together on the bookshelf, they all look nice there as well, but you can see which one's which. So for me, that was the challenging part was, I think, actually getting them all uploaded to Amazon, because there was 12 in total and a lot of descriptive work. So there was no writing in them, but there's still a lot of work putting all those individual books onto Amazon through the publishing process. But so, yeah, that was my fun and challenges for notebooks. Thank you. And that leaves Rory for this one. Yay, your green pen.
The most challenging part of writing the book for me is my own personality, which was on the surface is like, wow, you're always taking action. Well done. That's really great, because that's part of my personality is just visualize it and then just try it out and do it, which is great. If you don't analyze any of it as you go along. And which I had almost an equal amount of wanting trust in the details, kind of getting things right, perfectionism. I've worked on all of that myself so much that I kind of do it, and then I experience all the feelings of what are you doing? What are you? What the F are you actually doing? And I get that all the time, even though yeah, and it explains more in the book. So yeah, that's pretty. I'll just keep it short, but that was it. So like it's Kay's step-by-step approach meant that I could just focus on one bit and then notice all the resistance to doing that one bit and then doing it anyway, and kind of going accelerator brake along, but in small chunks, so it wasn't like a bumpy ride. It just kind of just kept on doing that all the way through it. So there we go.
Yay. So that was the challenging part, was putting your personality in.
Right, and getting it done quickly
Yeah.
or putting it off because it's easy for me to either have a go at something and then or put it off because it's not going to be perfect or right as I go along.
Yeah, I think we're both in the same boat with that one, aren't we? And you've certainly helped me through the process with this as well, keeping my head on track and not procrastinating and all that resistance. And yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, Rory's been coaching me with the ADHD side for me, while I've also been helping him with the book. And between us, here we are within less than 90 days with all these books out. And Emma's just ploughed through this with us with so much intention. It's been incredible. But yes, so when Rory says about essence of the book, it was one of the first topics we had was about how they're going to put that essence of themselves into a book without pouring the whole contents in like an autobiography. So you know that their books are from lived experience, but not necessarily about what they've been through in personal detail. And it's very much like I said about my first book, Brain Unchained. This one, it's not about the story I went through with my son. It's because of what I went through with my son. And it was about using the experience we've had to provide something different to help somebody else going forward. So yeah, amazing. Well done. Well done. I had a whole page of questions open on the side as well, but I've lost the link, the tab. So unless I can get logged back on this other site, which is, I had some questions up and I've lost them. Oh, here we go. I've got them. I've got them. We're nearly there. I think there was one other thing I was going to ask about as well. While I'm looking at these, let's have a look at any other books you plan on writing. So I think I'm just going to randomly put the pens back in and do this again. Right, juggle the pens round. It's the most random way to do it, but it's all part of using pens and writing, so it's fun. Emma, you're up first. Tell us, do you have any other books planned, and what might be your next one? What's your big one? Just tell us whatever you want while I pick up my paperwork. There we go.
Do I have any others planned? I do. I do have some more planned. I have one children's book out already, which is a kind of reframing and mindfulness book for children who are going through difficult life events. So that's already out. That's been out for a while. And I'm now planning another children's book, which I have written the text of. And it kind of plays into the critical parent thing, but it's written for children. It's written as a poem. So it's called You Are Enough. And it's for children who have parents who are maybe a bit critical. They don't mean to be. As like I've said, it's not about blame. I don't think any of us mean to be. It's what we've learned. It's learned behavior. So we are almost conditioned to take on our own parents' or teachers' beliefs and then ingrain them as our own truth. So you might have a parent who says, that you're stupid or something, and it's kind of explaining to children in an age appropriate way that that's not their narrative, that it's come from somewhere else, and that it wasn't ever meant for them, because it isn't ever meant for us. That's the bottom line. It's not meant for us at all. It's just the way that it's worked, so that it's this kind of, they're passing it on because they don't know another way. So it's a kind of an age appropriate poem for children. At the moment, I'm trying to find an illustrator because my illustrator is now not able to take it on. So I'm kind of now in a position where I need to find an illustrator pretty quickly, but that's due out. And then I'm hoping to write another adult self-help book as well. My supervisor was saying to me, why don't I rewrite Counselling for Toads? But from the point of view of Gestalt therapy, which is quite a challenging form of therapy that I touch on in my Critical Parenting Reframed book. It's that very challenging form of therapy. I think you'll probably remember, Kay, I did like an interview in the book between one part of my brain and the other in this Gestalt mode. So it's a very confrontational mode of therapy, which we don't use unless we know someone's able to. But to write a book from that point of view, it would be another project that I'd be quite interested in. So there's a couple of things in the pipeline. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's like that internal argument we have with ourselves as part of that negative narrative, but turning it into something therapeutic to help you
Yes.
through that process.
Yeah.
And as I say, you have to work through your problems to get up to happiness. Happiness is the higher emotion.
Mhm.
And when you're in depression, you've got to work up through what made you sad, what made you angry. And that method was the bit that sorted out those conflicts going on. That was really powerful. But yeah, that sounds great. And there's a number of books like that that are based on other theories. And another one I read years ago about identifying personality types was Who Moved My Cheese? But that was more about followers versus leaders versus innovators and deciding which one you fitted in. But anyway, right, so it is, oh, whose turn next? I've forgotten the question now. I have actually forgotten the question. What was it?
Next books.
Oh yes, next books. Yes. We went off back to the earlier topic of other books. Oh, Rory, you're next. Hey.
Do you wanna look in the back of the book and pick one?
I can just show the page. Rory has a coming soon page.
Yeah.
It says Neurocreative Recollections, the pros and cons of intentional brain bending brilliance, volume 2 and volume 3. Or there's the story of the human mind, the birth of neurocreativity and holistic fitness, or Holy Shift Brat Man, the perils and pleasures of neurocreative leadership.
Which one would you prefer to, I think I'm leaning to I'm leaning towards um the volumes 2 and 3.
Okay,
Just
let's go with that.
yeah. So those other two, just as a little thoughts, those other two are long read books that I've got planned at some point. One is about well, kind of what we talked about with human evolution of the mind specifically, and holistic health practices, and what to do going forwards, not just understanding where it's gone from. And from more of a story, kind of mixing a bit of fiction and faction together. Uh, so yeah, not just a dry read, but also yeah. Anyway, but the volumes 2 and 3, volumes 1 was up until the end of 2021. All my reflections around all this stuff around mental fitness and what I was learning about myself and all of that. So it's a kind of time capsule up until the end of 2021, and so much more learnings have gone along with that. So as I've been tapping into creativity and creative flow a bit more around this, I've carried on writing loads of things and poems and things. So there's more poems, there's more and more development around all of this. So, and the idea is that they will be the artwork will also potentially have other visual artists to contribute to it, so that it cross promotes visual art and these poems and prose and things like that. So it becomes a community of neurocreative artists and creatives from various genres to support the idea of this neurocreative recollections and neurocreative leadership going forwards.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this round up as a collection. As I say, it's been so much fun working on this one as it is. It really has. But at the same time, every single one of those pages, like you said earlier, about taking what you mean from it yourself, and every single one of them, as we work through them in the book, I really did feel like that was something I'm reflecting on in my life, even though it's something you've experienced. And yeah, no, it's really powerful. So yeah, I can't wait for the others to come out as well. Same with Emma's. Yes, for me, next books. I still have a load of books that I want to write. I have a bucket list of books I want to write. One of them is a completely different topic about a steamship captain. That's a generational history thing in my family. But leaving that one aside, because that could be a while before I get round to that one. The next one I want to do is to take my original book, Brain Unchained, which is emotional awareness for teenagers and young adults, and I want to rewrite that much more comprehensively with more thought processes and human evolutionary stuff that I've put together in my mind as well since writing that 4 years ago, and I want to rewrite it as Brain Unchained for adults. So that's my next mission, but that is going to be a bigger, chunkier book than I got told. This one was too chunky when I published it, so I'm going to go for a bigger one. That's my next mission on the book front. So, as well as probably some more journals and other things as well. But yeah, yay. Right, so that's that, and I think we're doing well. We're pretty much coming up to an hour, so we've done incredibly well to fill that with all those questions. And thank you to anybody. I know somebody's watched in, a couple of people have popped in along the way, and to anyone watching it on the replay, if you've got this far, wow, let us know. We'll make sure you get a freebie somewhere, right, from somewhere from one of us, because you've earned it if you've watched all of this. Reach out and we'll figure something out. And if we don't hear from anyone, we know nobody watched it. But anyway, let's see how many freebies we end up giving away now. That would be interesting. So yes, the final thing I was going to say is we were talking before we came on earlier about doing a quick reading. And then what we can always do later on as well is edit some of these sections and questions out tonight. So you each get the question versus your answer, and we can chop and change all this up for short videos for you. But we were talking about doing some readings, for example, the forewords, if you want, or something else out of your book. And I will give Rory, you look like you're ready for that one first, if you're ready to go.
Yes, almost.
Okay.
Let me just find it.
So if I just start again by doing an introduction for when we edit up later. So yes, Rory's going to do a quick reading from his book with the foreword, which is really creatively and playfully written specifically for Rory in such a way that it was perfect. So all yours, Rory.
Just finding it still. I'll find it on here instead. Oh no, hang on. It's gonna kick it.
It's not quite clear enough if I hold it up on
Someone
camera. I hope you don't kick yourself out again of the Zoom room like earlier.
Someone else go first.
Okay, right. Have you got yours ready, Emma?
I've got the foreword here. Yeah, I can read that.
Okay.
So my foreword was written by a chap called Ian March, who I trained with on my therapy qualification. Ian has also now got his own business. So he has written, which I was staggered by, to be honest. My name is Ian March, and I'm a therapist who studied on the same course as Emma before setting up my own business, just like Emma has. I was honoured to be asked to read Emma's wonderful self-help book and to write a foreword. Emma's passion to help others change their lives is obvious when you read this book. Upon reading Emma's book, I feel that the reader will find it extremely relatable, as most people will recognise narratives within themselves from their past experiences as a child. The book will help you to see different perspectives, whilst bringing in awareness and practical tools to use that are outlined in the book. As the reader, you would have heard the examples that Emma talks about that could have been said by parents and teachers alike. This book has suggestions that will help you become aware of your own subconscious behaviours for you to then have an opportunity to change. And Emma shows her own vulnerabilities that will teach you how to work through any inner child conflict that needs attention to be able to move forward in your life. The message is clear that you can choose to respond moving forwards in life and allow your inner child to be heard and then healed. The book is the type of book that you can revisit numerous times to see different perspectives and use the practical tools that Emma teaches. I have no doubt Emma has thrown her heart and soul into this book with her lived experience and therapeutic skills. It is written with authenticity and honest reflection that will only encourage the reader to do the work. This is a wonderful read. I mean, I was staggered. I was absolutely staggered. Like it's incredible. But yeah, what a foreword.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well done. Well
Yeah,
done.
amazing.
Yeah, it's nice to have that sort of validation from somebody else as well about the
Yeah,
effort you've put in. Beautiful
definitely.
thing to, as an author, to get that for the first time from somebody as well is priceless. But yes, very well done to Ian. He's watching back later. Excellent.
Yes, thanks, Ian.
Right. Have you found yours, Rory?
Yes.
Hey. Oh, yours.
Fantastic. Okay, so if this is the four-word forward. So I asked uh, wonderful Dr. Suzanne Henwood, a neuroscience-based coach, who's the author of The Ultimate Gratitude Journal and Being Awesomely Me, to share what she got from the samples that I sent her. And I was so pleased for this to be sent to me. So here we go. Forward. Explore, inspire, unravel, dance. In your hands lies a treasure trove of thoughts, a delightful dance of words woven together by the beautiful, vibrant mind of a sparkling soul. Dive in to explore and unravel the tapestry of your unique experiences as Rory invites you to playfully engage with the wonders of neuroscience and the art of life coaching. The quotes, poems, and sayings sprinkled throughout are not mere reflections, but portals to appreciation, curiosity, and growth in life with all its complexities. They celebrate the quirks that make us exquisitely and wonderfully unique and remind us that our differences are not challenges to overcome, but dances to embrace with joy. Let the words invite you to explore the beauty of the brain, heart, and soul, inspire your journey, unravel your thoughts, and dance through the endless possibilities of life with self-discovery and self-discovery with laughter and love.
Wow. That is absolutely beautifully done. And it says so much about the essence of your book. It really does. It's amazing. And I'm just trying to find the right thing to share on here. Oh, something coming up. There we go. So yeah, no, that is beautifully done. And it is so perfect what you've put in from both of you. Both of those four words are just priceless, absolutely priceless as to what you've achieved. And you deserve them, you've earned them. Congratulate, celebrate. Well done. Well done. I launched 12 notebooks, so I don't have a forward. So what I could do, I suppose, for mine is just very briefly just discuss a little bit about the covers. So obviously I love photography, as you can see. I take lots of photographs. I loved gardening and flowers, so I'm going to do my own foreword here. And even every single cover is one of my photographs. This is a photograph I took sitting on the front seat of a bus while travelling down 26 hairpin bends in a Norwegian fjord. I'll wait for the police car to go past. That's loud. And I always used to use mindfulness, just going down the garden for a cup of coffee and take my camera with me sometimes. And that's where a lot of my photographs have come from. But yeah, other than that, I'm just trying to think what I can say other than a foreword. I just loved photographs and photography. Oh, and this is the other one I took in Norway. We travelled all the way to 5-star islands in Norway, and this is not edited or altered at all. It's exactly as the sunset was on the first evening we were there. That was phenomenal, stunning. And so, yeah, that's for me. I'm not going to steal your thunder and your shine in terms of forewords because I can't beat them. But there you go. I'll say my own little bit about my photographs. I love photography, and that's through all my mindfulness books and my notebooks. And yeah, but every one of these books is on Amazon. So that now takes me up to, I think, 17 books with notebooks as well. So we're posting links all through the groups on YouTube. Every description, every post, we've got links in there to their books on Amazon. But because there's a number of mine, I've put the link to the profile for mine, which lists all the books I've released so far. But absolutely well done to the both of you. That's been an incredible hour that we've spent on here in a bit, and really powerful conversations. Thank you for really embracing that, and some amazing answers. So, is there anything else either of you want to add this evening before we sign out? And obviously say thank you to everybody in the group as well, because without you all, we wouldn't have a group. We would just be a little team in the corner, all on our own. But we need the group. We need you. We need you. And we appreciate you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything to add this evening before we go? Any farewells? I think we're all worn out now after a long day, aren't we? Brain's gone now. Time for authors to switch off and say night night.
Just to say, yeah, fantastic to experience this, and without all of the ongoing focus and intention that you have, Kay, that has put this trajectory on. Celebrate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I know I'm a bit of a slave driver. No, do you know what, you both just worked so incredibly hard and embraced the process from the beginning. And without that, it's a two-way thing. Like you said earlier, everything's got to be a two-way thing. And it's the same with all these self-help books. We can write them and put them out there as much as we like, but it's still got to be a two-way thing for somebody else to pick them up, read them, and actually implement what is in those books. And you can pick it up and read it, but if you don't implement it and you don't have intention over it, it won't have that effect. And that's the same when I'm putting out my step-by-step process for publishing. Rory and Emma have absolutely tackled that with every intention of making it happen. So thank you, Rory. Thank you. Okay. Right. We'll have an amazing time. I am going to stop recording. Bye bye.